Have you ever been part of a big, exciting tech project that just kind of fizzled out? It's way more common than you think. Companies are spending billions on new software and systems, but a huge number of them just fail. Today, we're going to unpack exactly why that happens. And here's a little spoiler, it almost never has to do with the technology itself. Okay, let's just dive right in. To really get what's going on, you have to understand the massive scale of this problem. We're not talking about little hiccups here and there. We're talking about colossal failures with absolutely eye-watering price tags. Just look at this number. Somewhere between 50 and 75% of these huge software projects fail. And when I say fail, I don't just mean they're a little late or a bit over budget. I mean they never actually deliver on what they promised, leaving companies with super expensive, clunky systems and a whole lot of frustrated employees. And these are not just abstract numbers on a slide. These are real-world disasters. HP lost $160 million in sales, all because of a messed-up system migration. Hershey's, they lost $100 million. And in one of the craziest cases, the U.S. Navy spent over $1 billion on a system they ended up just throwing away. The cost of getting this stuff wrong is just astronomical. So if these billion-dollar organizations with some of the best engineers in the world are failing, it really makes you wonder, what is the real problem here? And this is where we have to shift our focus away from the technology and toward the people who are actually supposed to use it. I mean, that's the first place our minds go, right? The software must have been buggy, or maybe the integration was just too complicated. But is that really what's happening when these projects go completely off the rails? Well, here's the massive gap between what we think causes these failures and what actually does. We get so obsessed with the technical side, the features, the bugs, but the real project killers, they're things like bad communication, our natural human resistance to doing things differently, and just a total lack of decent training. At the end of the day, these are people problems, not code problems. This quote just nails it. You can have the most brilliant, most powerful software in the world, but if you don't manage the human side of the equation, the fears, the habits, the daily workflows of your team, it's pretty much destined to fail. Adopting new tech is a people challenge, first and foremost. So the good news is, there's a better way to think about this. It's a framework called People Process Technology, or PPT for short. And the genius of it is how simple it is. Instead of starting with some cool new piece of tech, you start with your people and the processes they use every day. You basically flip the entire model on its head. So let's break that down, starting with the absolute most important pillar, the people. If you want to get technology adoption right, you first have to understand the complex psychology of your team. It's non-negotiable. There are so many invisible forces pulling the strings here. People are naturally risk-averse. We like what's familiar. Our decisions are hugely shaped by what our coworkers and our bosses think. We worry if a new tool is going to threaten our job, or maybe just make us look dumb. And crucially, we have to trust the tech, trust the people who built it, and trust the leaders who are pushing for it. And getting over those psychological hurdles isn't about forcing everyone to comply. It's about building a culture where people feel safe enough to try new things, and even to fail sometimes. When you actually trust your team, when you reward new ideas, and you treat failures like learning moments, you create an environment where innovation can actually happen. And that culture? It absolutely starts at the top. If leaders aren't visibly, genuinely committed, using the new systems themselves, showing everyone why it matters, then nobody else is going to bother. Leadership buy-in isn't just a nice to have, it is the foundation for everything else. Okay, so once you get the people side of things and you've started building the right culture, now you can tackle the second pillar, process. This is all about designing how work actually gets done before you even think about choosing a tool to do it. A good process isn't about creating a bunch of rigid rules. It starts with a clear business goal. What are we actually trying to achieve here? From there, you map out how a real user will interact with the system. And then comes the hard part. You have to be super disciplined about cutting out anything that doesn't serve that main goal. It's about delivering real value, not just checking off a long list of features. So what happens when a process goes wrong? This case study from a construction project is a perfect, if painful, example. They had this one simple but deeply flawed communication rule. The people actually doing the work on the ground were forbidden from talking directly to the project managers or the architects. Everything had to go through a middleman. And the result? A total disaster. A simple mismatch between the drawings and the actual site took 3 whole days to get fixed because of that communication bottleneck. A disagreement over ceiling heights led to a 10-day work stoppage. Every single delay, every dollar wasted came directly from that one broken process. So, how do you avoid this mess? By building solid processes from the very beginning. You need a formal way to handle changes, a detailed work plan so everyone knows what's in and what's out, and you have to commit to regularly checking in with the people actually involved. It's all about creating clarity and preventing those nasty surprises down the road. And now, finally, only after you've really understood your people and you've mapped out your processes, only then do you get to talk about technology. It's the final piece of the puzzle, not the starting point. This right here is the heart of the whole PPT framework. The tech you choose has to serve the people and the process you've already figured out. You don't bend your team to fit the software, you find software that fits your team. And how do you make sure it's a good fit? It's simple, really. You involve the people who are going to be using it every single day. Their experience from the front lines is priceless. They know the real pain points, they know all the little workarounds, and trust me, they will tell you if a system is a dream to use or a complete nightmare. Bringing them in early is absolutely critical. So if you think about where you should put your effort, it should look something like this. In any successful project, the huge majority of your time and energy, like most of it, should be focused on the people and process parts. The technology itself, it's actually the smallest piece of the pie. If you get the human stuff right, the tech part becomes so much easier. This quote just sums it all up, doesn't it? At the end of the day, technology doesn't succeed or fail by itself. People decide its fate. Whether they engage with it, whether they accept it, whether they can actually weave it into their daily work, that is what makes or breaks any new tool. So what's the big takeaway here? It's a huge shift in how we think. The goal isn't just to go out and buy the latest, shiniest software. The real goal is to build a whole system where your people, their processes, and the technology are all working together in perfect harmony. So, as we wrap up, I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. When you kick off your next big tech initiative, what's your first move going to be? Are you going to start by looking at software demos, or are you going to start by having a real conversation with your people? The answer to that question could literally be the difference between a huge success and a billion-dollar failure.